Well, hi. It's
Hillary.
us, minus Adam.
But you have a dog in your arms, so maybe you're trying to make up for it.
He's a little less committed than Adam is.
Yeah. So
But that's a little shadow.
for people who are listening, you have Shadow, who is 7 years old.
Shaddy is a baby.
What can you explain to the audio listeners what type of pooch he is?
Shadow is a 12-pound delight. He's black and white. It's like a terrier mix, a little bit of mystery. He was a rescue that we got when he was like a baby, just like 8 weeks old or 10 weeks old.
hmm
And he's wonderful. But
He's
he's
full of
I was telling
personality.
Kelly when we started recently, it's new to him that if I come down to my office, which is in the basement, I'll block off the stairs just so I can get this done.
hmm
And there's been a few times where he's moved the plastic box that's there. So there's like two pieces and he knocks it down. So the plastic goes flying down the stairs. He waits, obviously, because it's noisier than his size. And then he struts downstairs like, here I am. So now I just leave a space so that he doesn't have to knock anything down.
Nice. He makes his arrival known.
He does. He's a good baby.
Yeah. So for our audio listeners right now, should you have a chance, you can check out the YouTube channel to see what Shadow looks like. Kelly,
Yeah.
show, and then you'll see the latest 90s Now episode.
And what you'll miss from this episode is if you haven't seen what Adam looks like, because Adam is off again this week, but I'm thinking he's going to be back next week. At least that's what he's implied to us.
A message for him that I'll tell him next week, but you should know in advance. There was a communique going on our YouTube channel between some of our ardent listeners,
Nice.
Rachel and Carolyn and Ginger Bear.
Nice.
They said the show is not the same without Adam.
It's true.
And
it isn't.
It isn't. And then Ginger Bear put like a cry face.
Aw, that's cute.
Ginger Bear has lots of affection for our little Adam. So we'll get him back here next week.
Yeah. He's got some stuff going on, but like good stuff. He's just got to get it done and he'll be back and we'll get to having fun in a three-way. I know it was in my head and I got a red flag as soon as I said it, but it was out of my mouth before I could stop myself referring to us as a three-way. Anywho.
This is because of your morning show sleep deprivation.
A little bit. Yep.
There we are.
And thank you very much for joining us for this edition of 90's Now. So we've got some TV news that we brought back, we brought to you back in the spring. That's just a little nudge closer to being reality. Also, if Right Said Fred could ever be wrong, it's Beyonce that would be the one to tell them so. So we're going to get to information about that also. We've got book news. Maybe it's a book you didn't even know you wanted. We'll tell you what it is. We also got Kelly's trivia. We got a 90's rewind that'll take us back to a little section of time in our favorite decade. But we got news about the passing of one of the classic actresses of any time, really. So let's start there, Kel. Angela Lansbury, Mrs. Potts.
I got the news as I was on my tractor this afternoon. It came across my, update or whatever on my iPhone. And like right away, I'm on the tractor, it's noisy. And I actually said out loud to myself and the tractor, apparently, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's, it's sad. It's just the end of, another marker in the end of an era, but she was just a few days away from turning 97. So it would have been her birthday.
Oh.
But what a life and what a long list of credits in her acting career.
Yeah. So many Tony Awards. I believe it was 5 Tony Awards. And then she got a 6th one for a Lifetime Achievement. And then incredible. I was reading also that Murder, She Wrote was on for, I knew it was on for a while, but I thought that meant like 8 seasons, 9 seasons. No, 12 seasons.
Amazing.
From 84 to 96. So right in our wheelhouse. And you can, tell me your thoughts on this, Sharon, but like, I find Murder, She Wrote comfort food for me.
You know what's funny? You know that I'm in that group with my sister and my cousin, the celebrity death alerts.
Yeah.
So I heard, this afternoon also when my cousin texted me just the name. And then she wrote, one of my dad's favorite shows was Murder, She Wrote. That show drove me crazy. So I said, my mom loved it too. So much crime in that sleepy community
Yeah.
and always just a bike ride away.
Yeah.
And she said, think about it. If I told everyone to meet me at the community center at 7 p.m. because I solved the murder, they would say, mind your own business. Or in today's words, F off.
Yeah.
It's like it's true though. It's a comfort food because it might not necessarily work that way now.
Yeah. And just not for your cousin, clearly. She's not into this comfort.
No. It's funny. She's pretty agreeable until
Yeah.
she's not.
Yeah. Yeah. But Angela Lansbury, like in that show, it was just, I don't know, like as long as that show was on, it was like all was right with the world, even though there wasn't in the storyline. But the show,
and wasn't it on a Sunday evening, or am I
yeah,
wrong
I think
in
it was
remembering
Sundays
that?
at 8 o'clock. And my mom got very addicted to that show also. She was super into it. And you know, one thought that came to my mind immediately upon learning the passing of Angela Lansbury is I hope her and B. Arthur are hanging out because they were super tight buds in real life.
Yeah.
And so I always still miss B. Arthur. And so that'd be cool if they're hanging out upstairs.
Well, I love the idea also that Angela Lansbury is Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast, the classic, just, I mean, it's a voice job, but she managed to bring the warmth of her humanity to that character. And it sounds maybe like I'm overstating it because it's an animated film, but what a film and what a character that was. It's just really cool.
Yeah, no, she is. And like you said too earlier, my final words on this is just, end of an era in a way. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And the confirmation that came from her family was that she died peacefully in her sleep. So may she rest in peace.
I really hope that's the way I go. Nice and peaceful.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
But I don't want to know, so then you might not go to sleep. Like,
yes, I'm staying up.
Yeah. Not today, Satan.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got some interesting info to get to, but I figure now's as good a time as any, Kel, to get into some trivia.
So last week I listened, and I guess I should have sent Adam a little text message because he did put the show together for us, which he will do again this week. I should have said, hey, this is the time when trivia started, so you could put the theme song in. So no, it was just you and I talking last week about how the theme song may or may not be under making sound effects.
And so it wasn't.
It was not, no. But thanks for hanging in anyways to all of our listeners.
Yes, thank you.
So here is question number 1. Under hobbies, toys, and games.
Love it.
What color is the C in the Game Boy Color logo?
Oh boy.
I guessed totally wrong. And I was convinced I was right, but totally wrong when I guessed it.
I'm going to go with green.
Also totally wrong.
Is it yellow?
That's what I guessed.
Is it blue?
Oh.
Is it red?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah,
so
no.
Close.
I for sure guessed yellow. I was like, oh, for sure that's what it is. No, it was not.
Wow.
So that's not working out. All right. So now we're gonna go to pop culture. This is a good one, and I'm interested. Like, I think I'm gonna ask this of Adam when he does return, just to see if he would have a clue at all. So, which 90s supermodel reportedly confessed she would not wake up for less than $10,000 a day?
I would guess Naomi Campbell.
I would have guessed that also. Incorrect.
Okay, let me guess again.
You want a hint?
Yes.
She would mean something to us as Canadians.
Linda Evangelista?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I was like, Canadians don't speak like that. So
she knew her worth.
she must have, yes.
Are you impressed that I knew?
But no, because I figure like there's only one Canadian supermodel from the 90s. So I think
wow.
Watch there's someone else that I don't remember, and now
she's
like
coming for you for less than 10,000.
She's like, remember, but I remember that phrase, and it's funny because I really did think Naomi Campbell said it, but nope.
No, and you know what she would do if she knew that we had accused her of saying something like that? She'd whip a phone at us.
Yeah.
That she did do, didn't
Who
she?
did she do that to? Was it?
Wasn't her assistant or something?
Oh, right. I think you're right. Yeah.
And that was at a time where like social media was not a thing. So
Yeah.
she was just totally getting away with being a cow, you know, and not thinking anybody would say anything or believe anybody that said anything like that about her. Oh
Yeah.
no, we believed it.
Yeah. Naomi Campbell, she is fierce and feisty.
Indeed she
You know what's
is.
interesting is Cindy Crawford's kid, who is I'm forgetting now name. But she is like the spitting image of Mama.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Cindy Crawford is a beaut.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Classic
And
look, and not
Linda
much done to
Evangelista,
her.
she's gone through that really rough time, right? Like where remember she had that didn't want to show her face because of I think some sort of cosmetic procedure that went. I don't remember like she said she was disfigured, I think it was.
Wow.
And that was in the last like year. Like this like I
Look
think
away.
do you
Like
remember?
that?
I don't think it was enjoyable for her, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's risky business. All
That's
that
why
work.
some well, didn't Courtney Cox say that she regrets that she did anything like with
I believe so, yeah.
injectables?
With injectables, is that what you said?
I don't know if she said use the word injectables, but I feel it is injectables that she used. Like I don't think she got like a facelift. I don't know that Courtney Cox did that. I feel like she used Botox or whatever else.
I can't even get my head around Botox.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some lines, like you can see.
Yeah.
I've got more lines than a 27-year-old should have, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in injecting, you know, botulism in my forehead and just going, you know, expressionless for. It doesn't last either, you know, like
I think it's
it
4 to
only
6
lasts
months and then
4 to 6 months. Like
you have to keep doing it. Yeah.
no.
It's funny. You and I know someone who did it several years ago
Yes.
and it went badly.
Who
Not
is it?
bad like
Who
as
is it?
in death and destruction badly, but not looking great for several months until it dissipated.
So then it dissipated, meaning they had several months of not looking good, and then it dissipated, meaning the look of not looking good was gone and the effect of the thing was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they do it again?
I think so, but like they're no longer in our orbit.
Okay.
Yeah. But I remember when I saw, I was like, oh no, because it was like not a stuck facial expression, but kind of. And when you know a person, right? Like, and they're no longer look like even what was it? Kenny Rogers who didn't look like himself
Oh
after.
my gosh. He had nips and tucks all over the place.
Yeah,
Like
there was
he did not look like he used to at
no.
all.
Mm-mm.
And him and Dolly Parton used to joke with each other on who had more surgery.
But it's funny because certain times if you get like the right dude or dudette who's ever doing the injections, like you can look amazing. Like because like for example, like somebody's doing Jennifer Aniston, there's no question, right? Like somebody has to be.
Yep.
And somebody has to be doing Jennifer Lopez. And like there's just, you know, but they look great. Like they don't like Jennifer Lopez, who is now what, 52 or 53, she still looks like Jennifer Lopez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, she's putting in the effort body wise with the working out and the eating properly. But for sure, at 53 or whatever, she would have a crease in her forehead, but she does not. But who's ever doing it has done a seamless job.
As soon as you said that, I noticed a crease in my forehead. So I just did that.
Yeah.
Just raised my eyebrows. I'm mildly surprised at what you're saying.
Mildly surprised.
I'm about to shock you even more, though, with just some statistics. And I think you know them, so they might not be surprising for you. But 11 seasons and 44 Emmys. That is what Frasier had. And the reboot will be streamed on Paramount Plus. And Kelsey Grammer is super psyched to see it come to be. And we talked about this back in the springtime, and word has it that we'll see some new characters on the show and that he's going to be changing cities. But we'll also see some old characters coming back. So John Mahoney, obviously having passed in 2018, will not be on the show as Frasier's dad. But Niles, Roz, and Daphne will hopefully be making their appearances. That means David Hyde Pierce, Perry Gilpin, and Jane Leaves And that's something I think is really cool. I think it's neat that they can go back to the drawing board on a show that was so successful
Mhm.
and give it another go.
But they made it sound that they're only going to be making appearances. So it sounds like it's a whole new cast of characters around him for the most part.
Which also doesn't surprise me when you consider Kelsey Grammer himself. My impression of him is that he's got the confidence to pull that kind of a wagon, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
hey,
We
did
don't
you
have
know
a
what?
date
I've got
yet.
to, sorry, go.
We don't have a date yet for the release, but yeah, like as you mentioned, it'll be on Paramount Plus. I'm assuming, like, what do you figure, next fall, or do you think it'll be springtime?
I can't imagine it taking that long, the way they pull things together now.
So
Uh,
January?
I, I would hope, like we shouldn't have been talking about it for this long for it to take another year to
Right.
come
Yeah.
to life.
Mhm.
But that's me with zero experience in that, arena. I just think that, outside of network television, that if you're going to be streaming something, that you should probably be able to do it somewhat quicker,
Right.
because it's fairly competitive
Mhm.
in that area. But fun fact, I was listening to an interview with Allison Janney, who talked about how she had auditioned for the role of Roz
I think I knew that.
and that her friend Perry Gilpin got it.
She nailed that. She was an amazing Roz, like
Yeah,
just perfect. They
super
were
dry.
all such a great cast,
Totally.
And I can't believe it, but it's already, the fifth season of The Conners is
Yeah.
run. And
And
I'm
oh,
loving it.
I'm loving it too. I find it's interesting when you start dissecting characters on a sitcom. You're like, okay, well, I guess it's a very good show if you've got any issues with it and you're trying to figure out why that character acts like this or whatever. The character we have the most problem with is Darlene.
Yeah.
She's such a pain. Like she's selfish and she makes decisions that are, whiny and whatever. But I wonder if, that is that like true to form as to the way she was when she was
A
in the
million
kid
percent.
character,
Yeah.
but she wasn't like that at the start of this. I find her
No,
much more
but I
selfish
feel, yeah,
as a character.
I think she's taking over a bit of the role of Roseanne Barr, right? A little bit. So,
Yeah,
and
good
she is
point.
an executive producer. She is, as far as I know, the driving force behind that getting the reboot, right? So,
And I think we laugh every time. I think it's a great show, classic sitcom approach, and they knock it out of the park every time. Laurie Metcalf remains hysterical, and I
yeah.
find Lacey Goranson is very good in her character of
Yeah. And this
Becky.
season, it was weird that like they decided to get rid of DJ, right? The character of DJ.
They
And
got rid of him.
yeah, well, they haven't like, you know,
Yeah, we haven't seen him. It's true.
but he announced it's Michael Fishman, I think, is the
Yeah,
actor. He put out, and it's funny because like the statement he put out wasn't um blaming anybody, but it was very specific that it wasn't his choice not to return.
oh wow,
And so I felt
interesting.
bad for him because he also directed, I think, a couple of episodes over this last reboot, like in the last couple of seasons.
Mhm.
And he wasn't on much, but it's DJ. Like he has to be there, especially considering Roseanne Barr
Yeah.
is no longer, a part of the cast because of her mouth. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
yeah.
interesting that they have someone felt the need to, officially get rid of that character. Who knows why? Because he didn't die, right?
No, as far as I don't know if they just figured that they didn't have enough room on the canvas for a 22-minute sitcom that they needed to focus, on but it's interesting. So like Darlene's daughter gets more airtime than DJ was getting.
Well, yeah, but like, don't cut him off completely. Bring him in
Yeah.
once in a while, Like, and we still not we've not gotten to the bottom of Jackie's baby.
Yeah.
Her son would be in his 20s by now.
Wonder if we'll have a long
But
lost.
did we get
No,
to the bottom of that? Was that baby born in that whole dream sequence of yours on
was it?
Roseanne?
Oh,
I don't
maybe it was.
know. I don't
Maybe.
know, man.
If anybody knows, like Shane, I feel like if one of our listeners, I feel it would be Shane who would know this. Shane, do you
Shane,
know what happened to Lori Metcalf's baby? What was his name? Connor? No,
Andy.
Andy. Right.
Yep.
Where was Andy?
Where's Andy? He's with Chuck from Happy Days.
Right.
He was there. Now he's gone. And speaking of someone who is there and not gone, is Jada Pinkett Smith, Kel. And just when you thought you knew all you needed to, about Jada Pinkett Smith. She's going to release her memoir, a book.
Mm-hmm.
A book. And the
Mm-hmm.
press release describes the book by saying that it, quote, chronicles lessons learned in the course of a difficult but riveting journey, a roller coaster ride from the depths of suicidal depression to the heights of personal rediscovery and the celebration of authentic feminine power.
You missed your calling as a movie voiceover specialist.
I think there's still time. From a time.
Yeah, I talked about this on the air this weekend, and it's funny because obviously I shared that article with you, and then I took that article to use as content for on air. And it was funny because trying to meld that down as an on air,
Yep.
a bit of information, I was like, how am I going to word this? Because I can't word it like it's worded in the article, because there's a lot going on with this book.
And still some more, because the whole idea that that she had some like petty criminal stuff in her upbringing that, obviously was very far from, where she came to success and the glamour of Hollywood and the life that she's carved out for herself, and the love story with Will Smith and the joys of motherhood. But there was like drug dealing and I think just survival skills based on her upbringing that got her to this point. So that's the story we're going to get. And I think that, I don't watch the whole conversations at the red table or whatever it's called. But she, I think, shares quite a bit of her
I've
life.
only ever seen a part of it, and it sounds like lots of sharing happens at that table.
So this is like
the written word of the red table talk.
Oh, yeah. So there's that to look forward to. It's going to come out next fall.
We don't have a date, but fall 2023.
Oh,
did you mention too? I don't know. You might have mentioned it, and it glossed over my head. But she will also talk about her relationship with Tupac Shakur. Did you mention that?
Yeah, because weren't they in a movie together, or was it just
they
like
grew
a
up together, or something?
Oh,
in Baltimore, I think something. They cross paths over there.
Nice. We'll look forward to that.
Yep.
Another one of the badasses, Queen Bee, right? And right said Fred, got it wrong. Beyonce gave him the what for. Also, it's funny that they'd even try to accuse her of something as big as this, but they're not the first person to do it either. She's kind of catching flack from a bunch of people, but when it came from Right Said Fred that they accused her of using a sample of their song without permission, my response would be, as if she would do that. She's Beyonce. She doesn't have to do that. But classic, she's got receipts.
Yeah.
So all the details about the transaction that began with the request to use a sample of the song in May, getting confirmation in June, and sending payment in August, she's got it all. So wrong said, Fred.
Beyonce probably has like 10 lawyers on speed dial if she needs.
No kidding.
You know what I mean? So I feel like they would have dotted the I's and crossed the T's before that album would have dropped. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, you would have to, because you don't want this kind of thing happening, because it's expensive just to have somebody accuse you. You then have to have a lawyer ready to, rebut that and take those people down.
Ed Sheeran's just had something like this go on, not with a sample, I think, but with a accusation, I think, of actually like writing stuff. I don't know if it's lyrical or melody, but something. And then Katy Perry went through something not long ago. Wow. I think Taylor Swift, like anytime you're of note, you better have about 10
coming for you
on speed dial, because they are coming for you. And I always laugh too, because some of them are like the most obscure artist and or band from some hole in the wall that I'm like, did they even know you existed? And I mean, if it's true, then I want you to win. But I think most of these always end up with, no, it's not true.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I guess. And there's the flips of that script too, where people do get taken,
Oh, for sure.
Because they don't necessarily have the power that the takers have, let's say, in those situations. But I'm with Beyonce. She's got the skills. Why? Because she's paid her bills.
Exactly.
And it's that song that gets us into our 90s rewind. All the way back in 1999, that song spent quite a bit of time in our ears in the summer of 1999. And Bills was Writings on the Wall, right? The album that still featured
yes,
Destiny's Child as a foursome, a quartet. Quartet sounds less sexy. But that was a pretty big deal because it was still reaching us still at this point in the game in 1999. And Beyonce might have actually just started dating her would-be husband, but Mariah Carey was also working with Jay-Z too on her music and the song Heartbreaker. Man,
Great track.
There were so many great songs from around this time in 1999. To pick just a handful was a challenge. Enrique
That's his younger brother.
Enrique Iglesias. Enrique Iglesias actually made everyone feel a little bit more Latin with Bailamos.
Oh, yes.
See, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers were pretty chill on their last hit of the 90s, Scar Tissues, on their Californication album, which would keep on giving, actually, with a couple more singles into the beginning of the year 2000. And Lou Bega left us wondering whatever happened to the other four Mambos when Mambo number 5 became the one that we couldn't get out of our heads. And that is your 90s Rewind.
I do love it, Sharon.
Loving it.
Couple of shout outs before we wrap up. First of all, if you haven't listened to Renaissance from Beyonce, please do so, especially the song Pure Honey, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Also, Depeche Mode has announced a tour and a new album that's on the way. And there's a song from Ellie Goulding who sampled Depeche Mode's Enjoy the Silence. It's called All by Myself. Sharon, you will Google this as soon as we finish recording. It's very good. Very smart use of a sample.
Nice.
And I just want to give a shout out to Shadow, who has been very good during our recording. He's sat there like a little model.
He's like a little champion, and he's been tucking his head into my into the fold of my arm, which he's never done ever. So it's actually been super cute. But here he is.
He's so cute.
He's
a Shadow.
Daddy. You're a good boy, eh? Yeah.
He was sitting in for Adam this week.
He's very technical.
Yes. I'm going to try to send that note to Adam to put in the sound effect. We'll see if I remember. Yeah.
Pshaw, pshaw. If not, if you were missing the sound effects, that's what they would have sounded like. Pshaw, 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 bing bong.
By the way, Rachel said she enjoys when I say that's enough.
Okay. Well, Rachel. I saw somebody on Below Deck explain how to do an Australian accent, which is change the E's to A's. And so they were talking about, can I get a cheeseburger? Cheeseburger, please.
And that's different than your New Zealand accent?
Yes, New Zealand is, I'll meet you on Dick. I'm a dick hand.
So Dick. Like E's or I's now?
I don't even know.
Dick.
I should probably on Dick. Yeah, I got more work to do.
Looking forward to you learning other phrases instead of
instead of ship talk.
Ship talk.
Get the dick hand. We're gonna have a cheeseburger. I don't mean to sound like a clown.
Both
Rachel.
Sarah and Rachel are seasick at this point.
Exactly. Make her stop. We'll stop. Thank you very much, you guys, for finding us wherever it is that you do. We appreciate it. We're out there for you to enjoy, and we appreciate you coming along for the ride. So thank you for listening to 90s Now, still happening.